And we're up. What's going on, everybody?
Yeah.
Hello.
Chilling,
Hey.
chilling with nobody here yet.
It's been a week. It's been a week. How's
It-
everybody doing? I missed you guys. I missed
I
you.
we
I
missed you
missed you,
last
Cam.
week.
I'm not sure if I missed you, to be honest, Honey Badger.
Nobody misses me. You can't miss me till I'm gone. They can't, like they hate to see you go, but they love to watch you leave, right?
It'd be like that. It'd be
Right.
like that.
We did
Indeed, it do.
definitely miss you last week. I tell you what. But
Yeah, I feel like it's been a week for everybody.
it has certainly been one of those weeks. It has definitely been a crazy, drama filled year. But this month and this
Something
week
like that.
specifically have been
Yeah,
kind of
because
nutty.
Jackie, right? Everybody keeps complaining.
Man, Jackie!
I have never heard of so much complaining. It frustrates me. It really frustrates me because they're not just complaining about Jackie. They're complaining about Jade. They're complaining about Cabal. They're complaining about every character on this game. And it's like, just lab. Go to the lab. Go do
Go.
your homework. And have an F for the day.
Yeah, and I agree with the vast majority of that. But I have taken a lot of heat for taking the kind of contrarian stance in that I do somewhat feel that a ban is warranted with Jackie. And
What?
yeah,
Ooh,
and
I'm interested. Let's go. Elaborate.
so, and again, I've taken some kind of heat for this. First of all, let me say this: I don't think Jackie is as bad as characters in the past. Like I've played tons of other fighting games. I've seen way more broken characters than Jackie, by far.
KX Quan Chi.
Even more so than that. I mean, you don't even know SVC Chaos Geese Howard, where he had like a 3-hit infinite from mid screen. And it was like forward hard kick, down crouching jab or some shit like that. It was like literally like two buttons did a 3-hit combo that you could link into itself forever. Like that's
That one hit combo combo.
way more broken than anything with Jackie. But the fact that I've been around for so long has allowed me to kind of have that like foresight of what could or couldn't happen. And so I don't think Jackie is all that bad. I think she needs to be toned down, but that's the reason why I agree with some of the band's sentiment. And here's my explanation for that is that the community has said that they don't want to fight this character. Like she is absolutely overtuned. Like we can't deny the things that upgraded can do, and Jackie in particular, other characters can't do, and a lot of characters can't deal with. So she's absolutely hands down one of the best characters in the game, if not the best character in the game. And the player base has said, I'm sick of fighting this. I don't want to fight it, and it looks like the meta is turning into either you play Jackie or you play someone that can deal with Jackie. And a lot of the audience is saying, I just don't want to play that game. And the best case scenario is NetherRealm steps in and tones her ass down. They've had a year to do so, and they didn't. Not to the level that she probably needed to be toned down. So at the end of the day, when the community has exhausted their option of, NetherRealm kind of take care of this character, she's a bit much, and they've sat on their hands and said, no, she's working the way we want her to. They've said that loud and clear by not doing anything about her. Now the community is stuck with a decision, right? And that decision is, do I play this game or not? And a lot of people will decide, I'm not going to play this game. And I've seen this happen with other games. I saw this with Soul Calibur 4, where the community there was a character named Hilda who had the Doom combo. Yeah, and so she had a Doom combo, which was basically if she touched you and that stage didn't have walls, you lost. Like, she killed you
Yep.
instantly in one touch every round, as long as you were fighting on a stage that didn't have walls, and only like 1 or 2 stages had walls. So basically, she just won if she hit you. And the community was up in arms about getting rid of her, because this was before patching, right? They didn't really patch games in those times. And so a patch was out of the question. So the community said, yo, we've got to ban this character because it's just not fun fighting this. And the other half of the community was like, well, she's not unbeatable. I mean, she didn't win Evo that year. She lost Evo in the grand finals because stage select is random at Evo, and they got a stage with walls. So she lost. But the community was like, I don't want to fucking leave it up to that, right? I don't want to play that game. And so the community, because they could not decide on what to do about a character that was overbearing, the people that didn't want to fight it just didn't play, and the game died. And that's the concern I have. I think right now, so many people are up in arms about Jaqui. They've been that way for a while, and NetherRealm have made it clear that they're not going to do anything about it. Until NetherRealm does something about it, we've got to do what we can to keep the player base in the game. If we don't ban Jaqui, we run the risk of the game dying. And I think that's the thing that a lot of the people in the NetherRealm community aren't looking at that, because a lot of people don't really think about the community at large. They think, oh, well, like, I play Jaqui and I win tournaments with her, and I don't want to stop doing that. And those are the voices that a lot of people are looking up to and listening, right? Because they're the pro players and whatnot. And so people are saying, yeah, man, this guy's a pro player and their opinion matters more. They're saying that we shouldn't ban Jaqui. She's not as bad as MK9 Cabal, and we didn't ban that. And it's like, okay, yeah, but here's the deal. In a couple of months, when people are so fed up with fighting Jaqui and NetherRealm not doing anything about it, like, how many other fighting games are there? How many other games are there? Right? Like, the PlayStation 5 just got announced. There's going to be hundreds of games coming out that people could play instead of fight Jaqui. And they will.
Yep. Yeah, when you put it in that perspective, I definitely can see why you would want Jaqui banned. I would definitely prefer to have a character banned and have the entire community, or most of the community, just leave, because then the game's just completely dead.
Yeah, I speak for the silent majority, right? Like, there are people that aren't on Twitter. There are people that aren't on Test Your Might, that don't come to Twitch, that play Mortal Kombat. And maybe some of those people, I was for a long time, I was one of those people that, like, I didn't participate in the community outside of offline tournaments. So I wasn't keyed into, social media or anything, but I was going to tournaments. I was putting money into the community. And when I was playing a game that had some bullshit like that, I just quit that game and moved on to another game. And there are a lot of people from my years in the tournament scene, there are a lot of people that are like that are like, this game's kind of busted. I don't really like fighting this matchup. And we have a recent example of this. Injustice 2. People did not like fighting Starfire. They fucking hated it. And what happened? Injustice 2 died after 6 months because nobody liked fighting Starfire. And all the pros were like, well, Starfire isn't winning every tournament. She's beatable. She's not that good. Yeah, but that doesn't stop the rest of the players from just moving on.
Like, Starfire.
Yeah, and the thing is, the consensus is that the character is stronger than other characters. That like, you can't argue that she's not better than half the roster.
Yeah.
So, first, I think we need to kind of like address the elephant in the room, that there is no competitive season happening right now in MK. Like, there is no competitive season. Most likely not planned until probably the end of the year, if we're even lucky. So banning Jaqui it's like pretty much pointless, competitively speaking. Now, of course, if you're entering online tournaments hosted by different orgs and different companies and whatnot, then that's a different story entirely. But even then, I still feel that is a decision that should be made by the organizer, not by It shouldn't be neither a community or a company influence. If there's no competitive season, then there's no real rule set. Right now, we're basically just using the rule set. As an organizer, we're just using the rule set from last year's. Um, and that's brings me to my other point. I do believe that Jaqui needs to be toned down. She has too much pressure in Variation 3 to actually have pressure in both the air and in when grounded. We all know that she's a good character grounded. We all know that she has the buttons to keep the pressure and basically open you up once and she wins the match. But I don't think it should be something where she's doing it for free, especially in upgrade where that same pressure is shown um, when she's leaping half across the screen. However, I don't think that she should be banned because it's still possible to beat her, but it's also like people you're going to the point of like banning when you don't when you're choosing not to learn the character. Yes, you're having trouble, and yes, labbing helps the situation, but I think that if you lab more and you figure out what makes Jaqui uh that like so good, it helps with the decision making. I feel like, and the community is not doing that and just saying, "Hey, look at all my losses against Jaqui. This is not right." And it's like, I don't think that that's fair either to the character and to the players who play the character. And interesting enough, like you also have to take into consideration the actual Jaqui players. Now, I'm not saying the Jaqui players are saying, "Yo, I'm this is my character. I'm doing great with her. I'm a pro. I won. I'm a 17 win streak on Combat League. Therefore, sign me up to your org because I'm a god." Like, no, I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about the people who actually have dedicated time to Jaqui to understand her buttons, to actually work with her, and if you look at those players, you're looking at an actual character that has to work to open you up to get that win. And even if you're playing, um, again, it is more of her tools are so good that if she makes a mistake, she's not punished for it, but she still has to do some form of work. And I still think she's not at a level where she has to be banned because she has to work for it. Um, I play Jade. A lot of people are like, "Yo, I don't think Jade beats the matchup." No, she does because
Down
you're
two.
forcing you're forcing the character to play neutral. Like you really are. And I tested this with a bunch of Jackies, and I actually tested this with my coach Herbs, and I've tested this with Jukes and some other high level Jackie players. And I found that if you're just picking up Jaqui for her to carry you through the buttons, like basically leaping full screen, getting the basic B&Bs, and just going full force, you're gonna get messed up. You're gonna get messed up by Jade specifically. Um, and you can see that if you have a player that has a good neutral, Jaqui doesn't have anything for someone who just picked her up. Now, if you fight a high level player like again like Jukes or Hijinks or I would even say Deoxys, like because I fought him before too, the character does become oppressive, but it becomes more of a mind game because she has so many tools to prevent herself from having to get punished for leaping. And that's where I feel like even though Jaqui is again a very strong character, she shouldn't be banned. She's also, yes, she's in top 8, but she's also not winning right away against those characters that are like again compared to the other characters. She's in a good spot. Like she's in an over good spot, but she shouldn't be banned. I don't
Well,
think you should be banning a character like that.
touching on what you were saying a minute ago, I, I actually I actually think that this is the perfect time. So you said that there's no competitive season, there's no actual tournaments, there's no league or anything. That's one of the reasons why I support the ban is that honestly, these tournaments online and all that, they don't matter. So why don't we figure out if the game is better without Jaqui before it starts mattering?
That's actually a good point.
And
but then you're not helping the fact that she needs to be fixed. You're just saying that she's
That's true too.
without the game. Like, you're just saying basically a game without Jaqui is a good game. When in reality, we need to keep pointing out that this is why she's such a good character, but she's an oppressive character. Like, again, perfect example. She jumps, now she has to do a meter, but she still has an unbreakable no meter combo with good damage.
Jackie's playing Street Fighter.
Yeah.
So that's where NetherRealm needs to know this is not okay. But if you're just you're just basically gonna say no, she's not welcome in this.
Yeah, but you don't think NetherRealm wouldn't notice that if the community rose up and said, "Yeah, we're not playing with this character"? You don't think that they wouldn't take the message?
I think they're just gonna ignore it. To be honest.
Yeah,
I don't know that they would ignore that. Like, I've been in the NetherRealm scene long enough to where I played during the patch days, right? The MK9 days where they patched every month to nerf or ban a character, and that's where they got the bad reputation for doing that too much. They absolutely do listen, and if the community spoke out and said, "Yo, dude, we like the game better without Jaqui. We refuse to allow Jaqui to be played," I think that NetherRealm would listen to that. I think right now that the community is so divided, like, or at least the voices that matter are so divided that they're kind of not taking a stance. They're saying, okay, some people are calling for a ban. Some people are saying it doesn't need a ban. We're just not going to do anything. We're going to take the safe road and not do anything and see how things play out. Whereas if the community rose up in unison and said, no, fuck this shit. Fix your fucking game. We're not playing your game until you fix it. We're going to play our game. Our game doesn't have Jaqui. They have to listen to that.
Like, with Jaqui, sorry.
It's okay. No, you go first.
All right. So it's like, I can kind of understand where both of you guys are coming from on both sides of it, because, yeah, they probably should just try to get rid of Jaqui for a little bit, but then again, rather than fixing the character, it's just like, I would definitely prefer if they just fixed the character and gave her the necessary changes rather than just, like, making her not tournament viable for a little bit. But the thing is, I don't think they're really going to actually nerf Jaqui. I feel like if they were going to, they would have done it already, or they would have at least done it more efficiently instead of just giving her a slap on the wrist like they did. It's just like, I can definitely see both sides, but I would certainly rather prefer if they just change some stuff with the character rather than get rid of her entirely.
Yeah, but that's the thing is, like, first of all, this is touching on your second point, Saki, is that the tournament organizers, you would rather it be tournament organizers make these decisions rather than the community. But what you don't understand is that the tournament organizers are the community. These are community-ran tournaments. So you, as a tournament organizer, are catering to the whims of the people that are entering your tournaments. So if nobody shows up to your tournaments, you don't have a tournament. And if everybody says, yeah, I don't want to play this game because Jackie's going to be at this tournament, well, then you start getting people showing up. And the thing is, NetherRealm has not done anything, but that's because the community hasn't really risen up to the point that they, like, this movement is at the boiling point, right? When Final Kombat came out and it was like top 16 with 8 Jackies, that was when people were really starting to say, okay, this character is a problem. And when you look at the stats in that tournament, the only character that beat Jaqui was Jaqui and Dragon. Like, and so basically this is what I was saying to Tom Brady on Twitter. I was like, dude, if something isn't done about Jaqui, our game will turn into Third Strike. And I know a lot of people like to wax nostalgic about Third Strike, but they weren't there in those days. I was. Third Strike was a dead fucking game, okay? The Daigo Perry video kind of reinvigorated it a little bit, but at the end of the day, that game was seeing smaller and smaller turnouts because the whole game was Yoon and Chun-Li and maybe Ken. And a lot of people were like, I don't want to play that game. And so the game was just slowly but surely dying. And that's what MK11 will turn into. It will be Jaqui and the characters that can deal with Jaqui. And the meta will revolve around whether or not you picked Jaqui or you can deal with her. And people will revolt. They will revolt with their wallet. They will stop playing the game. They will stop buying DLC. They will stop entering tournaments. They absolutely will. I've seen it happen for many, many, many games. And when the community doesn't recognize this and take a stance and say, yo, we have the technology. Okay, in Third Strike's days, they couldn't fix the game. All right, like it was out, it was done, but we have the technology to fix it. And NetherRealm, you're not fixing it, so we're going to take matters into our own hands. We're going to fix the game in the way that we can with the tools we have available until you get off your ass and fucking deal with this problem. And hopefully that will light a fire under their ass to where they will recognize, hey, the community is fed up, and if we want to keep the community, we've probably got to deal with this character.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, keeping community is really what matters most, and especially when you look at it from a company's perspective, they just want to make the money at the end of the day. They're not gonna drive away business.
And again, I think the three of us kind of have a biased opinion on Jaqui because all three of us play characters that can deal with Jaqui.
Yeah, like I definitely have a little bit more bias.
So I can agree to that, but to a certain extent, because this is where I'm gonna point out the next point and why I feel she should be nerfed. So I do definitely think we can agree that she needs the nerf. But I still think, but this is where I'm gonna also mention too, where it's so important to know your options against Jaqui, even if those options don't really work out sometimes. And again, I'm using Jade as an example because that is literally the remedy to upgraded Jaqui, right? But most of Jackie's variations and Jaqui herself are dependent on a lot of her buttons, especially in that close range that she has that she can pressure.
Yeah, everything's
And her
-2.
Yes, everything's -2, which is again another thing that should be changed. I think her 9-frame mid is basically like a launcher and it has launcher damage. But anyways, we can all agree on that, right?
Yeah.
We can definitely say that if she has a bad matchup, it is literally 5-5 with her winning most of the time. I think we can agree with all of that, right?
Well, if she's winning, then it's not 5-5, it's 6-4.
I'm just saying that
Yeah.
most of the time when she's 5-5, the chances of her winning are a little more than the actual character. Like for example, I know Jade is her even matchup, but most of the time when I'm trying to fight that even matchup, I'm losing to a bullshit button or
Oh yeah.
That means that the
It doesn't
matchup
matter
isn't
if it's
5-5.
5-5.
If you're losing
It doesn't matter
to
if it's
bullshit,
5-5.
well, no, a 5-5 matchup means it could go either way at any time. If you're losing to bullshit, then that means it's not a 5-5 matchup. It's at best a 6-4. I think a lot of the NetherRealm community doesn't understand how matchups work. Because if people are saying that it's 5-5, but you're saying I can lose to bullshit at any time, then that means it's not
Is it
5-5.
5-5? Or at least like matchups. Oh, sorry, Saki, go
No,
ahead.
it's okay. The point is that she's a good character regardless, and she doesn't really have a bad matchup in her like itinerary, and we have to fix that because every character per se in the game has some form of a bad matchup, but on that same token, okay, I don't think people are actually going into the lab and putting her through the options that she has that you can somehow punish or take advantage of. I'll give you a perfect example. Some Jaqui players, especially the ones that are going into tournament and are basically beating you in pools round 1, round 2, okay, are doing some mistakes like an extra leap and nobody's capitalizing on it. Very few players are actually going to are actually familiar when a Jaqui does a misinput of a leap. Okay. Another example. A Jaqui player. Not many people know that when she does her low mix-up, right? It's technically a mid that she does the shrapnel. So what they end up doing is they fall for that quote like mix-up, and they don't know the option of blocking that mix-up that she does her ground pound and actually reacting to it if she tries to amp it or fully punishing it. They're letting her get away with stuff. Again, it's
Well, it's
not.
hard to react to that low. Like,
No, it's
And
not. I used to say that. Oh my god, Honey Badger. I used to say that until I figured it out. Her mids are all so her shrapnels are mids. The only thing that's
yeah,
an
but the
overhit is her
low.
two.
It's not the.
Right?
It's not that that's stopping people. It's the low because she can do it so
Right.
low to the ground. When you react to the jump, you have
She
like 5 frames to recognize. Oh shit, she did the low and she did it so low to the ground. You're already stand blocking by the time that thing fucking hits you because you're reacting to a jump.
that's where I'm saying that like I tested this with herbs and we were doing both the short hops, the regular short hops, right? And we were doing the short hop attack and the low mix up. And that is for sure broken. That is a guess. That is like 100% a guess. If you don't guess right, you don't guess right. But we found that if she does the jump, yes, you're stand blocking, but you can still do the crouch block. You just have to take the risk in some instance. But most of them are trying to do their shrapnel blast twice to get the frames and then do the ground pound. And again, it comes down to just knowing your options and being confident, even if it doesn't work out.
Yeah, but
Again, I know some
that still
characters.
favors her a lot because if she doesn't do the low, she's entirely safe. If she does do the low, which I mean, you fought very good Jackies. I've labbed this character like a lot, and I fought a very good Jackie over and over. One of Creative's friends, Fernando, and when she is in close range, she has 10 different directions she can go with her offense, and you have to guess which one and only that one. Okay, if she goes for the low, you counter it with a low block, but that's one option. She has 9 others that counter a low block. So every risk you make, every option you pick leaves you open to 9 other options. She takes no risk. Whereas you're taking all the risk on defense. Again, the reason why my character can deal with Jackie is because Kung Lao is just as oppressive. I could just kill her first. You know, like that's whenever I fight a Jackie, it's always a blowout. Either I get a perfect round or they get a perfect round, and that's just the end of that. But imagine trying to deal with that with like, you know, fucking Kano or somebody like that. Like you're just sitting there holding block, hoping that you picked the right block.
Yeah, and it's just like that's one of the things that not one of the things, two of the things with Jackie. It's just like for one, he's literally like -3 or barely even like reactable for most of her staggers. Like that's really one of the main things I feel like maybe like what Badger had posed, like what was it last week where you had said to swap out the frames on her forward 1 and forward 3. Like
Yeah.
I definitely feel like that would actually be perfect. Not even a nerf. It's just a change or just a quick frame data swap between 2 normals.
Yeah, she would still have a 9-frame mid. It would just be the one without range.
And the thing is, like Jackie as a base character is top 10. Like that's where I think problem is just like her as a base character is already like amazing.
Yeah,
then
she
on
has
top
3
of
variations
that,
no one else
all
does.
those tools. Yep, she has 3 variations, and not only that, they all cover a lot of different bases. Then upgraded, which pretty much covers everything almost. Even when she does get quote unquote counterpicked, it's not really that much of a counterpick. It's more so just you have a better chance of fighting her. A character like Bone Picker Baraka, because of how he has the spine burst, how it counters pretty much everything Leap can do. Yeah, but then if she does some stuff on block, he still has the 5-way guessing game.
Yeah, it's like
That's
once
my
she
problem
gets
with
started, you
upgraded.
can't do anything about it. She has ways of dealing with you keeping her out, but you have no ways. You have no way of dealing with her when she gets in. So when she's at disadvantage, she has options. When you're at disadvantage, you don't have options.
And I feel like that's where a lot of people get irritated with Jackie is because it's like, yeah, just a lab. And don't get me wrong, labbing upgraded Jackie will help you so much. A lot of people don't do it, but it's worth it. It helps out a lot. But the thing is, at the end of the day, you can lab all you want. If you guess wrong on that 5-way mix, oh well.
And it just loops back into itself. Like it never stops. It's never not her turn. right? If she gets in and she starts pushing buttons, like, yeah, okay, she's -3 on an unreactable stagger. I could have theoretically stuck out a jab, but I mean, are you really going to stick out a jab? Your options are stick out a jab because you think she's going to stagger forward 3 and maybe interrupt it. But if I'm wrong and she didn't stagger and that second hit comes out, I lose 30%. And you can't react to it. You can't say, okay, it's not like Shao Kahn 4-3-4 where it's like, okay, he's staggering. I can stick out a button. No, you're literally guessing. You're flipping a coin. Is she staggering or not? I gotta make a move right now. I have to do something right now. I have to stick out a button or die. Oh, I stuck out a button. She didn't stagger. I'm dead. And that's before she leaps. That's just off of 4-3-1. If she goes 4-3-1 leap, and then it's like, oh shit, well now there's 10 other things that I have to guess. And people have said that they don't want to play that. They don't want to do that. And that's why I support the ban. I'm like, dude, I'm with the people. I am the voice of the people. Like, the people have said, this is bullshit. This is not fun. I don't want to fight this. Yes, I can beat it, but I don't want to. I could go play Tekken. And that's the problem we're having right now is people can just say, yeah, you know what? I don't want to play this. I'm going to go play Soul Calibur. I'm going to go play Street Fighter. I'm going to play the fucking Grand Blue. I'm going to play Guilty Gear Strive when it comes out. There's a lot of options. And that option of playing against Jaqui and labbing her and getting good, and even when you lab her and get good, she's still stupid. Because I have labbed her, and I do know how to fight her. I've beaten upgraded Jackies. I've beaten good upgraded Jackies. And I still don't like fighting the matchup. I don't like it. I'm like, fuck, dude, if I don't fucking get her in Kung Lao throw loops and blow her up in 30 seconds, I've lost the match.
Pretty much.
And
I don't think banning the character is gonna solve the problem.
Banning her forever isn't going to solve the problem, but banning her temporarily while there are no tournaments that matter, so that way NetherRealm can hear our voice loud and clear, because it seems like they haven't really heard our voice, right? They haven't touched the character, and they listen to the pro players, and a lot of the pro players who are winning money with Jaqui. Let's remember that. They are winning money with this character, are saying that she's fine. And so when they look at the community opinion, and the community opinion from the pro players that are literally winning money with her are saying she's fine, they're going to say, all right, well, the consensus is that she's fine. Who I'm speaking for are the people that aren't winning money in tournaments with this character that are saying, yo, this is not fun. I don't want to fight this anymore.
But I feel like that just opens a can of worms to another topic where NRS isn't listening to everyone. They're just listening to certain people.
Well, yeah, but that's because there hasn't been a unified voice. I think if the community stood up and said, yo, we are not going to allow this character in tournament until she gets fixed, and then NetherRealm has to make a move, and the pro players have to go with it, because pro players don't make money on tournaments if there's not pop monsters, okay? If the tournament is like Deoxys, Ninja Killa, and Sonic Fox, yeah, those three guys can have a tournament by themselves and win $15 from each other.
Yeah.
Without the pop monsters, there are no tournaments. The pop monsters are saying they don't want to go to any competitions where Jaqui is allowed. So you've got to listen to the people. And yeah, it is scrubby that they're not labbing it, but as someone who has labbed it, it's still like nobody is disagreeing that even when you lab her, she's still bullshit.
No, I agree with you. I agree with that sentiment. I just don't think she should be banned. I don't think she's impossible. I think she's just a really big struggle, and I feel I'm more of the mindset of I just got to deal with it. I just got to deal with the character. Does it mean that I can't really play all my characters against her? Unfortunately, I have to limit myself to
But see, then what would be your solution to keeping the community? Because you're going to play the game regardless. So what are you going to say to the, 11 million people who bought this game that are going to quit? Because learn and get good isn't keeping them playing. At the end of the day...
No, I wouldn't say that. No, I wouldn't say learn and get good. I would actually just say find a character that you'll feel comfortable with. If they're just wanting to do one character in this game, unfortunately, and she's not the only one that causes this, but if you're just here to learn the one character, you're not going to do well in this game. Unfortunately, this game is not meant to be a character loyalist.
That's true, but Jaqui deletes 75% of the cast.
Again, that's why I said find the character to deal with her.
Yeah, but that's the thing
that's my mindset right now, and that's a mindset that when I stream and I tell my community, hey, if you're playing upgraded Jaqui, I'm not playing any other character of Jade. I'm not playing any character but Jade when you're playing Jaqui, because that's the character that I refuse to be more stressed out with than the character that I laughed against her with. And my community understands that, and we still play. I'm not saying that like it's struggling. It's a struggle, yes, but again, there's no competitive season. We're just doing casuals. If you get tired of playing upgraded Jaqui, like, also take note that she's not easy to just pick up. She's not a Liu Kang, where you can just pick up the character and you're already doing these leaps and all the 400 combo optimals. Like, this is a character that you do need to put in work, and some of the attitude of learning a new character in this game varies, but the consensus is if it's not an easy character for me to pick up, I'm not going to pick her up.
Yeah, but I can point to historical evidence where that didn't work. And again, that's Third Strike. Yun was not an easy character. To do Gene Jin wall carries and to do that loop was not easy. It took months of practice. But at the end of the day, people stopped playing Third Strike because they got sick of Yun. And the counter argument was, well, you could pick Chun-Li. She counters Yun. And then people said, well, yeah, but I don't really enjoy playing Chun-Li, and I don't have the ability to play Yun, and I don't like playing Yun, so people quit. Like, you can make the argument of, yeah, pick another character, get good, but when somebody buys the game and they see 30 characters on screen and they go online and they say, well, who's competitive? And it's like, well, it's Jaqui and these 5. Then they're like, well, I don't want to play those 5. I want to play this guy, or I want to play that guy. Like, nobody, like, yeah, there are character loyalists, but at the end of the day, when somebody buys the game and they see the competitive scene is 6 characters, they're like, well, all right, I guess I'll go just play Overwatch, because I don't want to play a fighting game that's 6 characters. And that's what I'm saying.
But you see, then I don't agree with that idea.
It sucks, but it's the reality. That's what I'm saying is, like, I don't agree with it. But we've got to do something as a community to stop the bleed.
I agree, but I don't think banning a character to stop the bleeding is going to do anything. If anything, NRS is just going to look at the characters like, okay, everybody stop playing Jaqui.
No, that historically it doesn't end up happening that way. So basically, because I've played a lot of games where characters were banned, and when a character gets banned, the community just rises up and says, yeah, okay, we're not playing ST Akuma. He's not allowed, right? And so ST tournaments go on without Akuma. And in Japan, they have soft bans. It's not even a hard ban, right? So in a Japanese tournament, Akuma is not banned. You could pick him and win Japanese tournaments. You'll get jumped in the parking lot because it's an unspoken rule that you don't pick ST Akuma, but you could pick them. In America, they do hard bans, right? If you want to compete, you cannot pick this character. Now, whether or not either or is the better option doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, what matters is the community consensus and keeping people in tournaments. And I can't think of a solution to keep people from quitting the game other than maybe we should remove Jaqui for a couple of months until the next patch. That's the only solution I can think of that will stop the bleed out of players that has historically worked. Like, there is evidence of it working.
I really, really feel like I feel like if you're also banning the character, you're just catering to the idea, well, this character's too hard, so we're not going to use them. Or rather, we're not gonna learn them. And okay, let's put Jaqui to the side and let's talk about the other complaints. You telling me that because Cabal's too safe, you're gonna want to ban him? Because that's setting a precedent if you do that with Jaqui.
Cabal doesn't do what Jaqui does.
With Jaqui, and in the community sees a character that they don't like and they feel is too powerful, then they're gonna want to ban that character too after Jackie's done.
there's no consensus that Cabal is as powerful as Jaqui. Like, everyone agrees Jaqui does things no one else can do, and a lot of characters can't deal with it. That's the difference. Is that
though you're basically opening the door or the Pandora's box of Jackie's too hard. This is what makes her overpowered, right? What's gonna stop them, or what's gonna stop the community from saying that about the next character, like Joker, like
Yeah, I can see that.
like
Well-
Aaron Black, like Shang?
again, I have historical evidence. I've seen this all play out several times on several other games. That doesn't happen. Because the consensus is that Jaqui is capable of doing things the game is not designed to handle. The game, in a game with bad anti-airs, a character that can get unbreakable damage off jumping around is something that other characters cannot do. And like, there's nothing Cabal does that other characters can't do. Cabal is super safe. You could play any character safe. Cabal just has more safer options, but you can play safe. With Jaqui, you cannot get unbreakable damage off a 10-way mix-up and be entirely safe with any other character other than Jaqui. And other characters are not equipped to deal with that. There are characters, a lot of characters are equipped to deal with Cabal. If he's just mashing out back 1-2, you could jump over that. You have ways of dealing with the things that he does, but Jaqui does things that are not, she's not playing the same game. And the thing is, when that has happened historically, it didn't open a Pandora's box. This is why I feel like my experience of being in the community for so long kind of helps a lot, because I've seen this play out time and time again. It doesn't lead to opening Pandora's box, because the community recognizes that Jaqui is playing a different game than everybody else, and we want to play this game that doesn't have Jaqui. And once we remove Jaqui, we can go back to playing that game, and no one else on the roster plays the same game as Jaqui. And that's where the ban argument is coming from. And there's no other character on the roster that you can point to and say they do something that completely invalidates everybody else. There's no, I have the character select screen on my screen right now. And I'm looking and I'm like, okay, like Raiden, does he do anything that no one else can do and that very few characters can counter? No. You could blow up Raiden with everybody. Liu Kang, does he, let's go through all the top tiers. Johnny Cage, does he do anything that fundamentally destroys the core basis of the game for everybody on the roster? No. Terminator, who is a mix-up character, who does similar things to Jaqui, but he's got like a 3-way mix between overhead, low, and grab. It's not a 10-way mix. He doesn't just completely degenerate the game the way Jaqui does. Nobody on this roster does what Jaqui can do. And that's why the argument of banning Jaqui it has validity to me, because she can do things that no one else can do and very few characters can deal with. And no one else on the roster has that problem. And if you remove Jaqui, yeah, the thought is, okay, well, now we're just going to go and it's going to snowball. Now we're going to ban Fujin. Now we're going to ban Cetrion. No, it's not going to happen. Those arguments won't gain traction because none of those other characters are as bullshit as Jaqui. People will say it.
Yeah.
They will say it. They'll say, we got to ban Cabal, and everybody's going to say, no, dude, fucking jump over back 1-2. Right? But with Jaqui, when you say ban Jaqui, and someone says, no, man, just jab her fucking, jab her after the fucking air shrapnel. It's like, okay, well, she could do double air shrapnel, or she could do a far leap, or she could just not do a shrapnel, or she could just do a jump in, or she could just do this, or she could just grab you. And it's like, okay, well, fuck, now I don't have an answer to all of these options. Okay, I get it. Maybe we should ban Jaqui. But you can't make that argument for any other character on the roster. You absolutely cannot. I would challenge anybody to make that argument for any character on the roster besides Jaqui. And I'm looking at it right now, and I'm like, yeah, Jax is kind of bullshit, but yeah, you could deal with Jax's mix. Yeah, Cassie is kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
Joker's kind of bullshit, but you could deal with Joker.
Yeah, you can deal with a lot of people's shit in this game. Then it's Jaqui where it's like, I guess wrong, I might as well just put the controller down.
Because the art...
You guess wrong once, you gotta guess again.
Like I said, I don't think you guys are wrong. I'm just more of the idea of, listen, I have to deal with it. I'm gonna compete in evil with it. I'm gonna make sure that I share whatever tech I have, because as a content creator and a competitor, I think if it's my job to let and help my community and the community know, hey, this is a problem character, but you can do it. I believe in you. Like, here, let me help you. But I just don't agree with the full ban. I think that the character is there for a reason. At that point, you're becoming like League of Legends. You're becoming like Overwatch, and they're doing away with the hero ban as of right now. And it's like games have, like, communities have the characters they don't like. It's understandable. I just don't think that we're at a point where, like, Jackie's the is like literally the epitome of being banned. I
Well,
don't know.
here
I think I've heard worse, to be
you've
honest.
used the examples of League of Legends and Overwatch, and I say that this situation is different. And again, because historically I've seen this play out. The reason why League of Legends is different is because it has like 500 characters, and they've basically given up on balancing those 500 characters. This game doesn't have 500 characters. In the example of Overwatch, they're not really banning characters doesn't really change anything because it's a team game. So they ban characters because the combinations are cheap and they can't ban combinations, right? So people complain in Overwatch about goats, and it's like, yeah, goats was a little obnoxious, but you can't ban goats because then you screw up other combinations. Like, so we're just going to put in temporary character bans. They tried it. It didn't really work out, again, because you can't really control combinations. It's not a one-on-one game where you're locked into your character. And in Overwatch, you're not even locked into your character in the match. If you're playing Reaper and you're like, fuck it, Reaper ain't working, I'm switching to Tracer, you could do that in the middle of a match. I can't sit there in the middle of a match of Mortal Kombat and say, oh shit, I picked Katana and they picked Jaqui. Fuck, I'm going to switch to fucking Noob Saibot. You can't do that in a match. You have to give up a round in that set and put yourself behind to switch characters. So that's why this is different from Overwatch and why it's different from League of Legends. Like, I just worry about the community growth. It's kind of stagnated right now. And I speak from the point of view of we've got to retain what few players we've got. We got a huge surge with Aftermath. We've got to keep those people that just joined in. And as it is right now, if we as a community have an unspoken rule of, yo, let's just not play Jaqui until NetherRealm nerfs it, because we all agree she needs to be nerfed. We may not agree on what needs to be nerfed, but there's nobody in the community that does not think that she's a little bit much. And that's why I'm saying, dude, the consensus is unanimous. We all agree she needs to be nerfed. So I'm saying until she gets nerfed, maybe we just lay off Jaqui.
Yeah, like, I can definitely see that. Like, and I wouldn't really mind that either. However, though, I kind of am more leaning towards, like, what Saki had said. Like, probably, like, a good, I don't know, like, she said a few minutes ago. Like, how, like, I just kind of feel the same way, almost, because it's just like, yeah, I would, trust me, if Jaqui were to get banned from competitive tournaments, I would not complain. At the same time, I honestly don't think they're going to do anything about the character. And no, I haven't seen them put out a huge ban for her in tournaments, so I'm just gonna keep doing what I can with that character. I just keep trying to lab against her, and just hope for the best when I fight her, and then I'll just kind of roll with it. But
well, they haven't.
I'm just gonna accept it.
They haven't done anything because we haven't given them a reason to. People are still playing her and
Exactly.
winning tournaments. If the community said, "Yo, dude, we're not gonna play your game until you fucking fix it," then they're gonna fix it.
I'm just gonna deal with it until they like. I'm just gonna deal with it until I don't have to.
Right? Like, I'm gonna deal with Jaqui until fucking Guilty Gear Strive comes out, and then I'm gonna play Guilty Gear Strive, and then fuck you guys. You go have your fucking 5-man tournaments with Jackies. Like, that's what's gonna happen. Like, that is absolutely what's going. That is the honest truth. I can say that with 100% confidence. When Guilty Gear Strive comes out, if Jaqui hasn't been nerfed, everybody's going to play Guilty Gear Strive, and we're going to have 5-man Mortal Kombat tournaments. So how do we get NetherRealm to nerf this character? By sitting there and basically protesting. The ban is a protest. We are saying, yo, dude, like, we refuse to play this game. We will not play with Jaqui in protest until you fix her. And at that point, NetherRealm has two options. Fix Jaqui or lose market share to Guilty Gear. So that's why I stand where I stand. Again, I don't think Jaqui. I'm not a fan of character bans at all. Like I'm 100% get good scrub. But when the vast majority of the player base is echoing the same sentiment, I can't ignore that. Because I've seen it happen time and time again. I've seen games die, and I don't want this game to die. And I will fight tooth and nail to keep that from happening. And if I have to sit there and compromise my values of don't ban characters in order to keep the game from dying, then I'm going to compromise my value of don't ban characters, because dying is worse.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I feel that if by August she doesn't get touched, then that's when I'll be concerned and I'll maybe be open to the ban.
Well, I don't think that this is like a good thing. Like, I agree. It's heartbreaking to have to make these kind of calls. Like, NetherRealm should have realized when Final Kombat had fucking 8 Jackies or something in the fucking top
out of the
16.
16, it was 16, right?
Yeah,
or it was 32.
They should have known that there was a problem and they didn't do anything. So in a perfect world, NetherRealm wouldn't have been fucking brain dead about this problem and they would have fixed it. But we don't live in that perfect world. We as a community have to take responsibility for our game. We have to fix it. When the devs drop the ball, we've got to pick it up. It sucks that that's the case right now. But what are our options? We don't have other options. We can't go into the game code and fix the character ourselves. All we can do is say, all right, if you're not going to fix the game, we're going to fix it in the way that we can, which is we're not going to play this character. And that's our only option. And it sucks. I agree. It sucks. I don't want to ban a character. Like, you know, I know people that are Jaqui specialists. They don't play any other character. And it's not their fault the character's broken, but they know that the character's broken. And it's like, it sucks. It sucks to sit there and tell a guy like, hey, man, you can't play your favorite character because that character's fucking bullshit. It sucks to do that. And I don't want to do that. But at the end of the day, do I want that guy to be the only person that plays with me?
Yeah. I forgot what I was going to say there for a second.
And yes, Fernando is carried. Carried into the sunset.
Yeah, it's, again, you know what? It'll come back to me.
I agree with you, Saki. It does suck, and I am against bans in almost every situation. I'm 100% on your side. I think get good scrub, but like this is an all hands on deck. This is not a drill emergency. Get good scrub hasn't worked. People are quitting.
It really hasn't. I've learned from this community, it kind of hasn't, especially with like I said, like I've seen people complain about Jade, and someone said she was an S tier character, and I'm just like, you obviously have not labbed,
Right?
You've obviously, like, I don't know what to tell you. The glow. The glow is, I think, 28 startup and is super punishable if you don't do it in a knockdown situation, and even then, it's still punishable. What else? You obviously haven't labbed the fact that you can short hop her sparks and flawless block all of her projectiles and even duck some of them. So, I don't know. I will say this, and I will compromise with this thought. If by August, which is, I think, the supposed next big, like, balance patch to happen, if it doesn't happen earlier, if by August the character has not been touched, then that's when I would say, okay, as an event organizer, I don't think we can have Jaqui.
I can agree with that. I can absolutely agree with that. And again, as an event organizer, you've got to do what you've got to do to ensure people, A, show up to the events, and B, enjoy the events. And, you know, like you're a business owner, right? And you've got to listen to your customers. And I think if your customers are fine with having Jaqui in your events and you're seeing good turnouts with her being the way she is, I wouldn't ban her. I would say, let it rock. The people that are paying to enter my events, or, you know, even if they're not the people that are showing up to my events are fine with it. So I'm going to go with my community, which is how community run tournaments should be and have traditionally been. So, I mean, I can agree with that. It's your tournament. Do what serves your community.
Yeah. Oh, And since it's about to be the 1 hour mark, and I'm gonna have to go, I guess like my final thoughts concerning Jackie are probably it's just me personally, I'm okay with the character. Like, I definitely don't feel like it's fair, but I feel like I have a chance, and I don't mind having to compete against it because she's a character in the game. But on the behalf of the community as a whole, I do think she should and because she's definitely driving away a lot of players, and at the end of the day, NRS is gonna want their players to keep playing their game.
They
So it's
got
just
Combat Pack 2 to sell.
yep. Yeah, nobody's gonna want to keep playing this game if the same character that they hate doesn't get a change. But as a whole, they should just do it because the community is what's demanding it. Maybe not in the competitive scene as much, but as a whole, like 80% of the community despises the character. It's just like they should probably do something. Like if not a ban, then just nerf her. Like and right now, like we're not in a competitive season right now, so it's just now would be the perfect time for them to look at the character, really try to analyze and nerf her prior to another competitive season. So I guess that's kind of my final words for today's podcast. You guys have any questions or response for me based on that? I can stick around for it real quick.
No, you kind of just echoed the sentiment I've been saying. So, yeah.
Right. Right. Well, I'll see you guys on the next one, and have fun talking about the rest of the subjects because I know y'all gonna be getting into it.
Yeah, I didn't know that Jaqui was such a hot. Well, I knew it was a hot button topic, and that's why we were going to cover her. But there were other news items that came out, and I didn't know that Jaqui would take our entire running time. But I'm not surprised.
I think it's more valid. The other stuff that we had in mind is honestly just speculation at this point. It's not confirmed, so.
Well, there are scary thoughts behind that, and I did want to give a little bit of perspective considering my background, other careers I've had in my life, and why this is concerning me a lot more than Jaqui. But thanks,
right.
Creative, for stopping by, man. I appreciate it.
Bye, Creative.
I'll catch you guys. Happy streaming.
Right?
Yeah.
But anyways, the other topic we were going to cover until Jaqui took all of our focus was the potential sale of WB Games by AT&T Time Warner and who may potentially be buying it, and some discussion and theorying on that. What are you thinking so far, Saki?
What is the issue with AT&T buying it?
No, AT&T isn't buying it. Here's the issue.
No, I'm saying it, like if they were to buy it.
No, AT&T's not buying anything. They already own it.
Oh, okay.
So here's the issue at hand. Let me explain what all is going on. AT&T Time Warner is one multinational conglomerate, right? It's all one company. And they are not really having financial problems, but they made a lot of buyouts, and which has led to a lot of debt. And so in order to kind of protect the company and keep themselves profitable, they want to pay off some of their debt, right? Think about it like having too many credit cards, right? I got too many credit cards. I need to pay off some of these credit cards so I can free up some cash for my month, which is, logical, and it makes sense that they would want to do that. So what they're doing is they're looking at all of their assets, and they're saying, okay, we're going to stick with a core business, and we're going to sell off everything that's not part of this core business and use that money to pay down some debts so we have less debts. And one of those assets is WB Interactive Entertainment, which is WB Games, which is the basically the publishing arm and development arm of AT&T Time Warner. They own Rocksteady Games, who makes Arkham Asylum. They own IO Interactive, who makes Hitman. They own NetherRealm, who makes Mortal Kombat and Injustice. They own the rights to Scribblenauts. There's a lot of games that WB Interactive publishes, and a lot of studios that are owned by that publisher. And if they sell off those companies, Well, who knows where it's going to go? And the problem people are having is the interested buyers. So the companies that are interested in buying WB Interactive thus far have been announced to be Electronic Arts, Activision Blizzard, and Take-Two Interactive, which are other, basically, they are the three publishers that are bigger than WB Interactive Games. As far as Western publishers, like, Square Enix, Capcom, those are Japanese companies. But as far as here in the West, like, those are the big ones. And I could even make the argument that Activision and EA are bigger than, they're the biggest in the world. Like, I don't even think of any Japanese publisher, European publisher. Ubisoft is, I think, Canadian. Like, they're not even on the level of EA and Activision. And the community is concerned because of the what has historically happened when EA and Activision have bought out companies and bought out development studios, and how many games we don't get. We're not going to get another Dead Space because EA bought out the team that makes Dead Space, and Dead Space didn't make FIFA numbers, so they're not making any more Dead Space. Damn it all to the people who love Dead Space.
That's why I think if I had to pick the lesser evil, I'd rather it be Activision.
Yeah, well, one other thing I wanted to touch on, and why, because you mentioned that this is all speculative and it's all rumors. I would counter that with, no, this is not speculation. This is not a drill. The reason being is I worked for 10 years at a bank. Well, I'm not going to name which bank, but it's a bank that you probably have your bank account with. Their logo is blue. But
I used to.
So I've worked for them for 10 years, and I learned a lot about how these kind of financial reports and things work out. A company does not make, a publicly traded company does not make announcements like that if they are not like 99% going to happen. The only time they will make an announcement like that and it not happen is when like the government steps in and says, no, antitrust laws, fuck you. But when they make an announcement like this, they've already decided that they're going to sell WB Interactive. That's why they're courting buyers. So it's not rumor and speculation. AT&T has decided they are going to sell WB Interactive. They have made a public statement. They are a publicly traded company. They, by law, have to announce these things when they are 100% decided to their shareholders, so that way their shareholders can decide whether or not to continue investing. That's just regular finance law. So the decision has been made. It's a question of who they want to sell it to and if any of those deals go through. Because at the end of the day, AT&T has made the decision to sell, but if like Activision makes the best offer and they start negotiating the offer with Activision, and then halfway through Activision decides they don't want to buy, they say, oh, you know what, maybe we don't want to take on the extra debt that we'd have to get to afford this purchase, because I think they want to sell it for like $4 billion. Or maybe they say, you know what, we've decided, for whatever arbitrary reason, they've decided not to buy, then yeah, it wouldn't happen. But if it's been announced by a publicly traded company that they want to sell this, that they've been talking about this for a lot longer than we've known. This is not something they decided last week. This is something they may have decided a year or two ago and started working on how they're going to sell those, and then reaching out to potential buyers. And now they have 3 potential buyers who may potentially start bidding. So now they're going to start the bidding war. They wouldn't have said anything otherwise. That's why it's scary. It's not an if this will happen. It's how is it going to play out?
I don't know. It sucks. All I can say is I'd rather it be Activision than EA, because EA does not care. It's been proven that they don't care. They just care the profit.
Yeah.
Activision, the only thing I see bad is that we're probably not gonna get not that the attention. We're probably not gonna get the dedication to the community as we would hope from NetherRealm.
Well, the concern...
And this time it'll be more of like, yeah, NetherRealm will want to do something, but Activision says no, because that's what they did to Destiny.
Well, the concern I have with all 3 is, first of all 3 when you think of AAA game studios in the West, Warner Brothers is looked at as like being as irritating as any AAA company, but being the better of all evils. Like everyone kind of thinks that Take-Two and EA and Activision are worse than Warner Brothers, but they still kind of get annoyed with microtransactions and stuff. The reason why I don't want EA is because EA, if you don't do Madden numbers, they just close your studio. So, like, Mortal Kombat has never sold as much as Madden. Never. Maybe in 1993 with Mortal Kombat 1, before Madden even was a thing, but it is never. And if you don't do Madden Battlefield numbers, you don't get to exist. So, if EA buys out Warner Brothers games, basically we don't get another Hitman, we don't get another Batman, we don't get another Injustice, we don't get another Mortal Kombat. They're just going to sit on the IPs. That's what will probably happen with EA. With Activision, they're going to add a bunch of loot box microtransaction shit to it. People think that the microtransactions are bad in this game, and I'm like, dude, yeah, you can buy time crystals, but you can actually earn time crystals too. You telling me you can earn half the shit in Call of Duty? Right? Like, Mortal Kombat will probably go free to play. If it's in the Activision umbrella, it will probably go free to play, and you will probably have to buy a loot box to get a Liu Kang skin. If it goes to the Blizzard end, which would be the best case scenario, Blizzard taking over Mortal Kombat would be fucking dope. Not gonna lie. I'd be down for that. It's not the old Blizzard we grew up with and loved, but I would take Blizzard over any of the other choices. Right? And at worst, they would just Overwatch the shit out of Mortal Kombat. I think that would kind of kill the tournament scene, because the Overwatch League killed the Overwatch tournament scene. There is no competitive Overwatch outside of Overwatch League anymore. Before Overwatch League, there actually were LAN tournaments, community-run events for Overwatch, and those have died because of Overwatch League. And basically, if Blizzard took over Mortal Kombat, they would have a Mortal Kombat League, and Combo Breaker would die. EVO would no longer be allowed to have Mortal Kombat. It wouldn't even be EVO decided not to have Mortal Kombat. They would not be allowed. CEO would not be allowed to have Mortal Kombat. There would be the Blizzard Overwatch league style Mortal Kombat League, and that's it. Which would mean a lot of players that are in the competitive scene would no longer be in the competitive scene, and tournament organizers basically just don't have a job anymore. And that's our best case scenario, is Blizzard getting Mortal Kombat and doing this. If Take-Two took it over, then basically, you look at Take-Two's portfolio and it's like, okay, Rockstar would basically turn Mortal Kombat into if Rockstar even took over Mortal Kombat, they would turn it into Grand Theft Auto or Red Dead, which has absolutely broken multiplayer and a really good single player, but broken multiplayer and absolutely predatory microtransactions. So, yeah, yay. And then you look at the other studios and other branches of Take-Two. It's like, do we want Gearbox, the Borderlands people who failed with Battleborn, to make Mortal Kombat? Would they even keep NetherRealm Studios? Would either of these companies, they may just be looking to buy the IPs. Yeah, we're going to buy the IPs. We're going to steal all the talent we want. We're going to get the best programmers from these studios and then shut them down. So NetherRealm may not even exist. Take-Two could buy up WB Games, take all the best talent, all the IPs, sit on them, not do anything with them, close the studios, and never make another Mortal Kombat game again. This is the reality of what may happen with all three options. This is why it's scary to me. This is why I find this scarier than nerfing or banning Jaqui. Is because we are at a point where the reality of our game and our community and our franchise is no longer going to be in our hands. And historically, it's been kind of in the hands of NetherRealm, and it may no longer be in their hands. And yes, we love NetherRealm. They're not perfect, but damn it, they've been good to us. And those people may be out of a job.
Mm-hmm.
That, Paulo, he may be unemployed. Tyler Lansdowne may be unemployed. I don't care what your opinion of Stephanie Brownback is. I don't want her to get fired. That's the reality, is that the people who have brought us our game could potentially lose their jobs, and the people within our community who make their living off of our game, they could lose their jobs. Now, granted, as a streamer, like, unless, the DMCA apocalypse on Twitch happens the way people are, screaming at the clouds may happen, I don't think EA or anybody buying up Mortal Kombat is going to affect my ability to stream. But I also don't run tournaments. So, like, what's going to happen to Combo Breaker? If Activision buys it out and says we're doing an Overwatch or a Mortal Kombat League, you now have to pay, $2 million for a licensing fee to even be a part of our league, which is what it is with Overwatch.
Mm-hmm.
Is CEO going to be able to front those that kind of cash to fund those events? Would they even allow those events? Because Overwatch doesn't allow those events. You want to be a part of Overwatch esports, you got to buy a team. You got to be a part of the Valiant. Go buy the Valiant. You want to be on Overwatch esports. Like, that's the direction that this is probably going to go in, and that's what kind of scares and concerns me. And I don't think that the community is necessarily looking at this as quite possibly the apocalypse that it is. I think a lot of people are like, on one hand, you have people that are like, yeah, fuck NetherRealm, man. They didn't nerf Jaqui. They deserve it. And it's like, okay, whatever. And then the other half don't really understand the implications of publicly traded corporations, multinational, global conglomerate publicly traded corporations making announcements like this. They don't make them willy-nilly. This is not something that might happen. This is something that probably will happen. And I think as a community, we need to start facing the facts and kind of figuring out what we're going to do from here. Because a lot of people who make their living off of fighting games, especially, Mortal Kombat heavy tournaments and events, they're not going to have a job. And the developers that we've grown to love over, the 12 years that NetherRealm has been NetherRealm, they may not have a job. And the game that we play and love may never return. They talked about how this was the end of Mortal Kombat. This was like the conclusion. We thought it was the conclusion of a trilogy. This may be the last Mortal Kombat. And because these kind of decisions don't get made lightly, maybe NetherRealm knew that this was in the cards. And that's why they've built Mortal Kombat 11 to be the end of Mortal Kombat.
Well, this way to put it, but yeah, that was an ominous way to end the show.
I don't want to be the doom and gloom.
I can see Honey Badger going in a crystal ball and just saying that. So.
Can I be like the Skeksis from Dark Crystal? Just,
yes.
Mortal Kombat!
Well, I think that was a good way to end things. Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, I wanted to kind of explain the situation a little bit on the stream to people who may or may not understand the severity of the situation. I hope I have kind of opened people's eyes to what's going on, and I hope people have a better understanding of that afterwards. But yeah, it is pretty scary, as Baraka is doing a friendship on my screen. I think that we should take this as a call to action to really take care of each other and take care of our community. I see this as kind of, possibly dark times, but I also think that it should galvanize us to maybe appreciate each other a little bit more and appreciate what we've got right now, because there's a lot of just badness in our community, and people aren't really taking into consideration how good things are and how much worse they can be. And so I think going forward, we should kind of appreciate what we've got a little bit more and be a little bit better to each other as an MK community.
Yep. Alrighty. My name's Jaqui. You can follow me at Saki Sakura TV. and Honey Badger's there. So
Yeah.
you know Honey Badger.
You can follow me on Twitter, YouTube, and obviously if you're following this podcast on Twitch, then you're already here. Also, Creative can be found on Twitter and Twitch and YouTube as well. So make sure to go and hook him up. He had to go early, but we appreciate the time that he shared with us. I mean, he only missed the last 15 minutes.
Yep.
All right, that's going to kill it for the podcast. I appreciate you stopping by, Saki, and
Problem.
thank you.
Nerf
Hopefully,
Jaqui. Hashtag
right?
Nerf Jaqui.
Right?
Hashtag book.
Hopefully we'll have happier topics to talk about next week. They'll be like, yes, we have finally confirmed Melina's in the data mines. She's coming.
Oh, God.
And we can discuss how happy and cheerful we will be next week.
Bye.
But with that, I'll see you later, Saki. Thank you.
Bye.